Imagine standing up for what's right and getting teased for it by the very folks who should have your back. Terry Crews, the big-hearted guy from Hollywood, did just that, and everyone laughed. But the truth he told was more important than their jeers. In 2017, Terry Crews, known for his infectious smile and comedic genius, revealed the darkest side of Hollywood. He shared a story of assault that many couldn't believe because they didn't want to. Today, we explore his journey of courage, resilience, and the brutal backlash that followed. Join us as we dive into this story of courage. In 2017, Terry Crews was one of the few guys who spoke up during the #MeToo movement, and his story was shocking. At a Hollywood event, this 6'2" former NFL player and action star shared that he was groped by Adam Vennett, a big-time executive at William Morris Endeavor, one of the top talent agencies out there. His willingness to share this was a surprise, and the backlash came pretty quickly. At the time, everyone was dealing with the Harvey Weinstein mess, which had opened the door for survivors starting to speak up. Women like Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd were stepping up to call out powerful men. But Crews's story brought in a twist. It showed that guys can be victims of sexual violence too. His revelation wasn't met with the support many assumed it would garner. Instead, it became a litmus test for society's views on masculinity. The Me Too movement's context. The Me Too movement actually started way before it became a big deal worldwide. It was kicked off by activist Tarana Burke in 2006 to help survivors of sexual violence, especially women of color. But things really took off in 2017 when accusations came out against Hollywood big shot Harvey Weinstein. Suddenly, it was all over the news, and tons of women and some men felt empowered to tell their stories. Terry Crews getting involved was a game changer because it showed that victims don't have to look a certain way. In a world where the movement was often associated with women, Crews reminded everyone that sexual violence is not limited by gender. His testimony wasn't just about his experience, it was about expanding the conversation around who can be a victim. Challenging masculinity. Crews's critics seized on his physical appearance, questioning how a man so strong could be assaulted. D.L. Hewley, 50 Cent, and even Nick Cannon mocked him, suggesting that his muscles made him immune to victimhood. "A little chubby white man grabbed your nuts and you ain't do nothing," Nick Cannon joked, a comment that echoed what many were thinking but didn't dare say out loud. The underlying assumption was clear: real men don't freeze, and real men don't fight back. This narrative is precisely what Crews was dismantling. In interviews, he explained that his reaction, choosing not to retaliate, was intentional. "If I had punched him, I'd be the angry black man, the monster who overreacted. My career would be over," Crews said. He highlighted the toxic stereotypes that force men, especially black men, into impossible situations. His refusal to conform to the expectation of violence was an act of defiance, one that redefined courage in the process. The power of restraint. Crews knew the stakes. As a black man in America, especially one in the entertainment industry, any act of aggression could be career-ending. By choosing legal action over violence, he illuminated the structural iniquities that protect abusers while punishing victims. He went public with his story, not for the sympathy, but to shine a light on the pervasive culture of silence in Hollywood. His testimony before the Senate underscored the broader issues of power and accountability. "This is how toxic masculinity works. The abuser holds all the cards," Crews testified. He became an advocate for men who suffer in silence, showing that speaking out is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to true strength. Personal demons and redemption. Yet even as his star rose, Crews carried personal demons. He had a tough time with a porn addiction, which he later said nearly wrecked his marriage. In 2010, he finally came clean to his wife Rebecca about cheating, calling that moment his D-Day. This was a major wake-up call for him, and it pushed him to be more open and honest as a way to heal. Rebecca's forgiveness kicked off a fresh start for them. They worked hard to rebuild their marriage, and now use their story to help other couples going through similar stuff. Crews often talks about how important it is to be transparent, encouraging others to face their problems directly instead of ignoring them. the media's role, and the price of truth. The media played a significant role in shaping public perception of Cruz's story. While some outlets applauded his bravery, others treated his disclosure as a joke or spectacle. Comedians like Jimmy Kimmel and internet commentators mocked the situation, perpetuating harmful narratives that invalidate male survivors. But Cruz showed us that even when people make fun of you, it really matters to speak up, even if it's not the popular thing to do. Social media has its ups and downs. While it amplified the voices of critics, it also allowed Cruz to connect with others who shared their own stories of survival. His openness sparked conversations about consent, power, and masculinity, topics that are often dismissed when they involve men. Forgiveness and moving forward. One of the most powerful moments in Cruz's life was when he decided to forgive his dad. After going through years of his dad's abuse, Cruz made the choice to end that cycle. He told his dad, "If I could pick my parents, I'd still pick you." This wasn't about letting his dad off the hook for the past. It was really about setting himself free. It was a testament to the idea that true strength lies not in holding a grudge, but letting go. Impact on male survivors and broader society. Terry Crews really stepped up and spoke out, making a huge impact on how we talk about male survivors and sexual violence. Usually, guys are taught to think that being strong means staying quiet, and showing vulnerability often gets looked down on as weak. But Cruz flipped that idea on its head, showing that even the toughest guys can be victims and that speaking out takes real guts. His story hit home for a lot of men who had been hiding their experiences out of fear of being laughed at or not believed. By opening up, Cruz helped break down the toxic stereotypes that keep male survivors silent and encouraged others to come forward without feeling ashamed. Legacy and continued advocacy. Since coming forward with his story, Terry Crews has really stepped up as a loud and proud supporter of abuse survivors and mental health awareness. His experiences have inspired not just those who have kept quiet about their struggles, but also groups working to fight sexual violence. By sharing his own battles with addiction and his path to healing, he has become a role model for resilience and integrity. His influence goes beyond Hollywood. He teams up with advocacy groups, takes part in awareness campaigns, and uses his platform to educate people about consent and accountability. Terry's still killing it in the entertainment biz, despite the pushback he faced, proving how powerful being real can be. With roles in popular shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and being the host of America's Got Talent, his voice only gets louder. He's shown that standing up for what's right doesn't mean giving up your career. In fact, it shows true character. His journey really highlights that you can bounce back from tough times, take control of your story, and turn your pain into something positive. By doing all this, Terry has not only made a name for himself as an entertainer, but also becomes a shining light of hope and strength for those looking for justice and healing. Terry Crews' story is all about real strength. Not the type you see at the gym, but the kind that lets you forgive, be open, and speak up for what's right, even if it's not the popular choice. He dealt with a lot of mockery, but came out of it with his head held high, inspiring tons of people in the process. His journey shows us that true strength isn't about muscles. It's about having guts, being kind, and standing up against what's wrong. Thanks for tuning in. If Terry Crews' story hits home for you, just remember that real bravery is all about speaking up, even when it's tough. Whether you're a man or a woman, these topics, when spoken about, deserve to be taken in a serious light and not ridiculed. Don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Until next time, keep in mind, courage makes a huge difference.